The webinar will begin shortly. Please remain on the line. The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
All right. I'm gonna say good morning. Good afternoon, traders. What day is it? Where are we? Welcome out to the Tradespoon live trading room, stocks and options closing bell, which would make this an afternoon session, which is why I said good afternoon, traders. My name is Scott. I'm the head trading coach here at Tradespoon, and I will be your host. Hello, LK. Good to see you. Wonderful Wednesday to you, Dennis. It's a interesting day, good day. Everything's going well still. We got what we were expecting to get. I think the probability of another pause is pretty good. Like they may be like, yeah, we're done here. I know that there's a lot talking about one more hike. I mean, I read something earlier today that already talked about, oh, they're going to have to do a 1% cut next year. I'm so worried about next year. Worried about what's in front of us right now. That's what we're worried about. That's what we're talking about. What's in front of us right now? The market's bullish. It's been bullish. I've been bullish enough. So this is something that people will ask me a lot. They'll say, do you trade in front of the Fed or whatever other, it's kind of like earnings for the economy, right? You're getting news about the broad economy, therefore the broad market. And there are various events that the market pays more attention to where you're like, ooh, that could be a catalyst, a binary event, pushes it one way or the other. My answer to will I trade in front of it is it depends. And it depends often on my market posture. The more bullish I am, of course I'm willing to right now. Low VIX, no, the institutions aren't very worried. I'm very much willing to hold bullish trades, put them on Monday and Tuesday, which I did, and hold through the report. Actually, it had less volatility. Anyone watch the futures? We'll go look at like the 1 minute chart. It was less volatility than I thought there would be, quite honestly. And then as he started speaking, we got, and it may not last, but we still have another hour. We'll see. We'll have a quiz. But for me, that's another reason why I always want to have a strong sense of market conditions. The more bullish I am, the more I'm going to hold through, broader scale reports to make sure that I have something in play, because I think those are oftentimes going to accelerate the market. We need to be in there for those. And there may still be opportunities today. So only seeing opening slide. Yeah, that's because I'm just still kind of yapping without advancing the slide. This is me trading for a while, teaching for a while. This is the disclosures. Take a look, commit them to memory. Read them to yourself at night to go to sleep. Okay, so that's it for now you should be seeing, let's go to Yahoo. There's my good friend. He got the text. I didn't send him a text. S&P has gone positive, 0.08. Dow, 0.31. NASDAQ is flat. All right. Microsoft had some earnings the market didn't love. The Russell up 0.8. Russell showing strength. What does that tell us? That tells us that the appetite for risk is still here. We don't see people like, oh, get me out of small caps and technology and put me in the Dow. I need safety. We don't see that. We see like, hey, they're still moving in there. Great. I don't see any disruption to my overall current market posture. Nothing's been disrupted here. Fed raised rates to the highest since 2001. I was going to say it feels about like what it was when I first came into the markets. I came in 99. I'm like, I remember buying a house around that time. Got about the same mortgage rate as out there now. I swear it's like 6.5%. So Yeah, there it is. They raised it again. Good time to be thinking about bonds, especially if we think they're topping out. So if you're looking at building a fixed income portfolios, best it's been in over 20 years, and may get one more, but that might be it. And then we may see, a lot of speculation is that they're immediately going to have to lower rates next year to reaccelerate things as once the inflation calms down. It's going to stall the economy a little. And so, it's almost like you're just playing a little game of lagging with it. That's the news. Wasn't so good. Visa wasn't so good, although it started down and came up. We'll see. There's some other ones. Microsoft AI to help growth gradually. Musk gives the middle finger in Twitter's X rebrand. I don't even understand that. I never really looked at that Twitter stuff. Tweetery. I never got involved in tweetery. Will today's rates plus rates? Yes. Okay. I mean, that's it. That's what we see. Economic calendar, but we're not done. What's next? So we got FOMC. Now what? Well, now tomorrow. No, not a lot of expectation here. Like I said, there's been a couple times where we saw it just barely creep above 250 for 1 week, then right back down. There's been no concern developing in jobless claims. I wouldn't expect it to start. Maybe, if all of a sudden they're like, oh my God, we had 350,000 people, I'll be like, yeah, whoa, that's crazy. Durable goods are expected to slow down a titch, but still grow. That's kind of what we have to have. We can't adjust inflation without slowing down sales and therefore slowing down some production to account for that. That's just the natural course of things. But it dropping 0.7 but staying positive, there's nothing wrong there. GDP expected to come in at 2%. Look, there's no recession with positive economic output, period. I don't know why I consider 2022, Q1, Q2, 2 consecutive quarters of negative economic output, recession, 2 in a row. We're still positive. There's no reason to worry about a recession until we have at least one GDP come back negative and jobs lost. And there's going to be things that we see. I think sometimes that there's the media, I don't know, maybe that's what it is, build this hysteria, this constant state of pervasive fear where we're always like, oh, something's going to come. The market's bullish most of the time, more often than it's bearish. But we're always so convinced because it's like this negative anchoring to when it does crash. But go back to any quote unquote crash. It wasn't like it was just going up and then all of a sudden out of nowhere, like, you see it. The institutions see it. You see money move to position for it in sectors, in major markets. You see institutions start building some hedges like, whoa, they will sniff it out before us and they will take action. So as long as we're keeping an eye on the market with an objective of understanding if that type of action is being taken, that's when I say a disruptor. When I'm looking, my market posture is bullish and it stays bullish. I'm constantly, the more bullish I get, the more I'm like, okay, I'm not going to let it sneak up on me, right? I'm not going to get complacent. But none of those aspects are triggering. In fact, my market posture improved again this week. Anyone else want to offer up? If you know, and I actually showed a recording that you could watch. Let me know if you're able to take a look. But it's an important aspect of the market because it dictates everything that I do. In addition to that, we have a little bit of retail inventories, not much there. But then Friday kicks right back up with personal income, spending. We'd like to see spending up income up and spending slightly up, but less than expected. If everybody's spending money again, prices won't go down. There's a natural, right? And so that's what they're looking to balance. PCE, we're going to look to see what the inflationary data, do we get below 4? Do we get back into the 3s with this core CPE number or PCE number? There you go. Bullish. This says neutral. I'm going to say more bullish in that it's generally up, kind of a bit of uncertainty here, and then followed by a little bit more bullish. So minor push, uncertainty, bullish kick at the end. That's the SPY. I'm more bullish than that, to be honest. Although the cyclical, so I say I'm looking for, I'm looking eyes wide open so that I'm not complacent in a bullish, like, oh, everything's so bullish, hunky dory. I want to say, hey, is there something coming up? And we'll look at the cyclical chart on the research tab here in just a minute. QQQ pick. So it's funny because Stella keeps thinking, oh, it's going to drop. And then same kind of thing was out here. And then the prediction shifted, right? Back here, I thought it was going to drop, and then it shifted. So I'm going to take it with a grain of salt. There's some volatility in this market. So I think it keeps picking up on things when the sell-off is a little more than expected. But overall, if all I look at is you can see we've given back some of the gains again, right? But we're still holding pat. I still look at this as the same entry signal, quite honestly. And I look at this trend, and I think this looks great. We just got a new higher high, new higher low. Stochastics is oversold, starting to turn. Now, if you think it's already a valid signal, you might trade today. If you think, you know what, I'm just going to wait for this to get back above. So the high here, 379.24, you could certainly, so getting in now will get you better reward to risk, but you're more likely to be wrong tomorrow. Or at least there's a higher probability that you are wrong tomorrow because you're in the trade. And if tomorrow drops, you're wrong. Or you wait for it one more day to see if you can get back in around this same price with the confirmation that the buyers are coming back in. Either one is valid, but I would say that this is definitely still in setup position from a price action and a trend standpoint. Okay, let's get real quickly through the other two. I would actually expect neutral to slightly bullish. Yeah, same kind of thing, neutral to slightly bullish on the IWM. We're already seeing that. And to be predictive here, I would say same thing. Oh, the Dow's the strongest. So we've got bullish on the Dow, slightly bullish on the NASDAQ or on the Russell and the S&P, and then a little bit of bearishness on the NASDAQ. But overall, I think it all looks quite bullish. The sectors are still strong, still technology, still communication services, still consumer cyclical, still industrials, and financials is still at play as well. I mean, there's a lot of breadth to that. What's the concern? Here is a concern. Okay, this concern is that, and we've been following this pretty closely. I said, look, I'm watching this. When this was predicted to go up, this went up, and that helped to build confidence on that move. We have a consolidation, and then what? It goes up, pulls back a little, goes up, pulls back a little. When that pulled back a little, we were ready. We're like, yeah, no, that's okay. That's okay. A little pullback. We've seen this. And then what do we get? The rest of the bullishness. So these have been some very bullish windows. Everything has been, I mean, honestly, for me, this has been spot on, like 100%. What's it say is going to happen now? We're going to drift sideways, struggle to break support, and maybe even test the low, which means this could be a double dip right here. This could be a double dip. So could there be a correction at any given time? Yes, absolutely. I have to be aware of that. There's no reason. I mean, we've had 4 bullish windows in a row, right? We had 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 bullish windows since March, since early March, 4 bullish windows. I've definitely been maybe even 5, depending on how 5 or 6, depending on how you split some of these down. It's been great trading from March until now. So would we think that this overall perspective right here has the potential to now give us a correction that then leads to, if you're an Elliott wave, if you've ever heard of that analysis, if you're an Elliott wave technician, you'd be out there like, that's exactly what I'm seeing here. We're now due for a, right? This is very common. So as bullish as I am, one of my primary objectives is to not give back if we go into this type of a correction. Now, could we get one more move and then have that happen? Yes. So I'm going to trade because we might get that move and I want to be in. But eventually it's not. And so, yes, this is something that is certainly weighing out there, casting a little bit of a shadow on the overall perspective. So is there a chance we see some sideways to slightly bearish here August into September? Yeah. And let's be ready for it. Absolutely. Today, where's the money? So you can see Apple's doing fine. Apple actually gave a trading signal yesterday. That's based on earnings. Meta is reporting earnings. I believe it's this afternoon, is it not? Yeah, Microsoft did not do well. Chips are kind of mixed overall right now. You know, I always love NVIDIA. Consumer, the industrials are mixed. You've got some bright green, you've got some red in there. So that's a little bit of a mixed bag. To overall, consumer cyclical, more bullish than not. So honestly, I think the way we're coming out of this looks good, and little catalyst from the other economic news Thursday, Friday, very easily could propel this for its last move before we hit that August, September, a sideways expectation. Okay, I've been talking for a bit. Tell me how you're feeling. How are you trading? What's been your concerns? Any mistakes? Yeah, so this is just kind of like, this is a good signal here. We went up, we pulled back, we started to turn. Now there's a bit of a pause. The quiz is coming right now. Right now. We'll have a quiz. It's going to be amazing. So let me zoom in. Woo! It was trying to hold up, and then it just sort of like, yeah. Now what? Honestly, this is going to be an interesting quiz. A post-Fed quiz. I'm going to go here. Sees if you think it's going to collapse. I'm going to go halfway across there. A's think we're going to get back up at or near the post-Fed highs. B, you think it's just going to meander around where it started, somewhere around that 454.5. I'm just going to round the numbers above 455, below 454. Start giving me your answers. I'm going to pull up the model. I've got Martine is a C. Dennis is a B. Brad is a B. Bob is an A. Bob thinks buyers are coming back in. I'm actually gonna join Bob. I'm gonna go A. I think they're gonna pop on up. LK is a B. Raymond is an A. Jacques is a B. Okay, spirited. It's lively. Ku is a B. It's an interesting day of ball, right? Like at first I was like, it didn't seem to react much, and now I'm like, oh, okay. Here we go. A little up, down, up, maybe. Okay, let's see what the model says. Anybody else wants to sneak an answer in? Pop it up in there for me, please. SPY. And let's go intraday prediction. $2:00, 454.76. Stella is a B. 454.76. Stella's a B. Look at that. Already buyers are trying to make a push. Let's see what happens. This will be an exciting one. Love it. Okay, let's see what. Oh, I think, let me see. I have one more. Carmen is a C. Oh, Carmen's a C. Joining the bearish crew. Let's go back and see how the VIX is seeing this. So even though we sold off a little bit, the VIX is actually okay. Although, here's what I would say. At this point, I do feel like we've had enough. So it's a terrible line. It's a terrible line. I'm embarrassed by that line. Hold on. I'm going to cheat. Okay, so we had this and we bounced up off of it. And, could I have thought to myself, it did a little up, down. I'm going to go blue here. It went up and then it came down and then it went to here. I'm just kind of drawing the close. Could that have been considered a higher low? I'm going to say no. I'm going to draw that a little differently, right? I'm going to say that, and I'm going to match the stochastics. I'm going to smooth it out a little and say that we went from here up to here. So we were a little above it on this side, a little below it on this side, but overall, we got it up at this point, but we didn't finish there. And now I see this happening. So now I have this high, and this is a lower high. But what's the problem? Problem is, if I extend this line, I'm going to do a different color. I'm trying to make this stand out. I'm going to go green. Let's extend this out. We got close to it, and I'm paying more attention to the bodies than anything else. So if tomorrow I get a doji, and the next day I get a bullish candle, yes, this thing's going to come down a little bit more. And then what do I have here? I now would consider this to be a higher low than its predecessor. And now what? And now I'm concerned of escalation and I'm going to hedge. Bam, that fast. So it could be, what day is today? Wednesday? Could be Friday. Could be Friday where it's like, oh, we didn't get, right now we're looking for Thursday and Friday to provide us some strength that would then ease the minds and the hedging stops and this thing breaks on down below 13.25-ish in their area, 13.25. Okay, so if it's strong, let's go with purple. If it's strong, then tomorrow for follow through, we would see this coming down further like this, right? And then on Friday, a little more follow through, 12.73. So maybe we get back down. At that point, I'm no longer worried about hedging. I mean, it may do something like this and go sideways, but I'm absolutely at that point looking to see if there's ever a higher low. That higher low is my first line of defense against escalation by institutional traders. They're preparing for it. As soon as I see them preparing for it, I prepare for it. I don't want to just buy a bunch of puts off false signals. So I'm looking for something very specific. So if tomorrow's bullish, the VIX gets that purple day, and then Friday's bullish. Okay, great. I already have bullish trades on right now. I told you we put some on already. Might put more on today, even as we look through this, depending on how things finish. Tomorrow, there could still be a bullish window open. So, yeah, that would be the purple scenario. But if tomorrow the market kind of stalls, and then on Friday we get a little bearish and we see the VIX start to turn, you can bet I'm going to shut my bullish trades down and be like, oh, okay, we reached the end of the road. And I'm going to think there's a very good chance we get a drop, a small rise, and another drop. And that would be like a potential for a 10% correction. And if we can see it coming, we can be ready for it. We can, tighten up, not lose as much as it first transitions, maybe get some bearish things in play, make a little money to the downside, and then we're ready to go whenever the next move comes. That's my thoughts. If you differ, certainly tell me what your thoughts are. I'd love to hear it. And let's go take a look at the watch list at this point and see how things are looking. Yeah, the VIX is probably the strongest looking thing. There doesn't seem to be a swell of fear based on how the market is reacting to the Fed. Apple looks bullish. It turned. Still going. You have earnings. So do I have time for this to make a move? Yeah, absolutely. Nothing wrong with this expectation right here. And I'm out before this. What is this? 8-3 aftermarket. Quiz or too late? Too late. Too late. But I'll tell you what it is. 454 by 455. 454 by 455. So those are your variables. And right now we're at 454.46. So we're halfway between them. B for John. Got it. AI. I mean, I don't love this one. It did give a higher low. Kind of stalled out here, but then it came down and the buyers came. Was that valid yesterday? Yes. Is it still somewhat valid today? I would say yeah, but I think I could find better. That's my thought process. Heikinashi says it's got a good candle. Could I get in today and put a tighter stop? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. AMAT, I'm not a fan at this point. I'm getting close to kicking it off the island. I like to have a good representation of chips. This is not one I would trade personally. Amazon, I thought was going to give something. And it's kind of holding this support level right here. I would need one more day. You don't have a lot of time before earnings, but maybe you could catch a little pop. I would need to see tomorrow. It's too much of a gap down. I wanted to see it come up here around like 130. If I can get up to 130 tomorrow, then maybe I could do that trade. And I'm in until the 3rd, which is next week on Thursday. So you'd still have 6 days in that trade, firing off tomorrow. AXP, it's at support, but it's sideways. I'm not interested in that. BLDR, I like. I've traded it for a while. Valid signal. CPRT, very similar, but it hasn't turned yet. So BLDR, I would say, has a signal. CPRT looks like it's close and may get a signal. John Deere. Woo! John Deere found some resistance all of a sudden. Great. I'd love for this thing to pull back to 420. Opportunity to take a trade around that 420 level looks pretty reasonable to me. DIA. Looks like it's just kind of grinding along, hitting some resistance. So again, I wouldn't be shocked to see a pullback, but I'd like to see a pullback followed by bullish. What's our concern right now? The concern is we might see it drop with a little bit of vol down here to this old resistance. Then if it fails to get back up, the next one down might be down here. Bam. So 335, 356 to 3, that's only 20 points still, quite honestly. Yeah, so that's worth noting. So that's about a 21-point move on a $356 stock. I'd say that is about 6%. So if we got a true correction where the volatility that comes on these dips is bigger, that's going to put us down here. That's why we're concerned, right? Do I have hedges on now? No, nothing on now. Nothing. 5.75. Yeah, if anyone wants to see, I agree. 5.75. I almost took this to a 1, which would have made that a 6. Almost. We'll see if it gets there. Oh, it was close for me. But everything is scoring very, very positively. Sectors, major market. We had more buyers. We had more volume and conviction for the buyers. The trends, the VIX, it all looks great. I mean, that looks great. Does that mean we might not see it go into a correction? Of course not. And when I've had 4 or 5 straight profitable bullish windows of trading, I'm definitely looking for it even more so now. 100%. I'm going to keep trading bullishly because I'm not going to jinx it, but I am ready to put that hedge on. Very much. DKNG looks like it's turning. Look at this one, right? This was the seller's opportunity. The door was open. They just couldn't walk through it. Now it's turning. Now it's turning down here. Looks good. Viable. Valid. Flex. Too close to earnings for me now. So I'm going to take it off. Earnings report today after market. Show me the earnings. Earnings 726 after market. Yep. Yepers. Gold. Oh, who's thinking about it? Nice pop up out of this consolidation. Hit some resistance, pulled back, higher low. Valid. I don't know. It's been a while, but I'm thinking about it for gold. I've got a few trades on the right other screen that may or may not get fired. IBM is not one of them. IBM is at resistance. I have zero interest in trading into that. IBN. Is it a bull flag? Did it fire? If you like bull flags, that could be it. Stochastics never got below overbought, but it turned. I mean, this thing could run from here. We went 23 to we went about $1.50, which on that stock's about 7%. Could have a move again. Interesting. ING, not quite yet, but it looks close. It looks close. Every day the buyers gapped it down. The bulls came back in. If you're wondering about all the gaps, this is an ADR. If you look up here, that is an ADR, American Depository Receipt. That's for companies that are foreign but are converted, so to speak, into the American shares. Good signal on IONQ, RK. Yeah. Remind me as we get through. Oh, we're right there. IONQ. Perfect alphabetical order. I can't not respect that. Agreed. Beautiful signal yesterday. Today, you'd have to take a Heiken-Ashi continuation trade. So you would maybe look for a tighter stop. If you're already in the trade, you've already got a piece. You're already able to tighten the stop. Agreed. Did you take it yesterday or today? Style. Candles. Been in it for a while. Do you ever say a word and then the more you say it, the more you're like, it doesn't sound right, but it is right? Like, wait, what? Candles. Jets. Let's move on to Jets. Jets for me is just a little too far down. That feels like we're, now in a consolidation. Once I have this consolidation in place, oops, that's not it. Let me restart that. Once I have this consolidation in place, the thought is it's probably going to bounce. So I need it to break. Right? If it can get back up here, then come down and give me a higher low, well, then that looks much more valid for it to make a run back up to the old highs and then regain its prior trend. This turning or this can't signal until it breaks out for me now. It's got to break the consolidation at this point. It's that simple. JPM overextended, needs to pull back. MasterCard, it's a little funky and it reports earnings. So, yeah, great. Let's be patient. We'll take a look at the credit group again here in a little while after the dust settles. No problem. I would absolutely look at trading Meta today. Higher high, higher low. Oversold stochastics, turning up. Everything about this looked great. Except for what? They report earnings this afternoon. Volatility is off the charts high. Expect that to drop quite a bit. I would say 20% even, potentially, overnight. So anyone who owns an option, it will bleed. Whether it's right or wrong, it's going to bleed from that big of an implied volatility drop. Then you don't know what you're going to get. that's the problem, right? We've gapped up the last couple of times. I mean, it is always so tempting, right? Let's be honest. It's tempting. It doesn't hurt us to talk about it. It doesn't hurt to just look. What would a speculative all or nothing? Can it go? What were my 310s? God, look at the expense of these things. 810. 810. That's 12 points out of the money. You get 2 days. So basically, you get tomorrow, whatever happens tomorrow, because all that vol is going to bleed. How would you make money on this? We'd have to get to double your money, make 100%. You would need this to get to 327. 327, which is up here. Now, we've gotten pretty close to that before, but if you got only to here, let's say you got up here to 316, that's a good jump. 316, that's 6%, right? That's a good jump. But at 315, a 6% jump, you're going to lose. I would say you'll have intrinsic value essentially. So it'll go to about 5. So you'll go from 860 to 5. You would have predicted an overnight move of 6%, and you will lose $3 per option. It's going to just bleed off like that. So you needed to get the 320 minimum just to make a profit. 327 gets you right. So when you start thinking about it like that, you're like, oh yeah, I don't know, right? So where did it go? Yeah, no, I'm not going to do anything with it. I'm like, so if it was down at 30% vol, like if you ever are looking and you see earnings the next day and there's not this swell, the vol's just sort of sitting low, hell yes, take a chance. If it's not going to bleed the next day, they'll be like, hey, let's see if I can catch something. No harm, no foul, right? But that's not it. Microsoft earnings got down, sold off. Yeah. At this point, what are we hoping? We're hoping it stabilizes at or above at least this support level here, 328. And then it can. I do kind of think at this point, same thing, that I've got some kind of a consolidation here. So if it keeps coming down, I need it to pop out. There it is. That's going to be what the software group within technology needs to recover. Netflix, I don't like trade. I mean, I don't like trading weakness like this. It gapped down on earnings and it hasn't stabilized yet. The volume is dropping off, and it seems like maybe it's going to hold support at this, second prior. Slowly moving up into the eights. There you go. NVIDIA gave a signal. Today, it's just kind of flat. So what do we do with this? I'm going to say give it another day. Absolutely. Down here, 437, 436 and a half. Now I'm thinking, can I move this up? And it's probably going to be below today's low for tomorrow, 446.30. So maybe just a little below that, 440, 446.10, 20 cents. I don't need much. Somewhere below that, because if tomorrow it turns, then yeah, it's wrong and you want out. Okay. Entry was really around 452. So if we get out at 440, we get out at like 446 or something, it's really not much of a loss. Pulte gave a big smashing move yesterday with earnings. How do you catch something like that? You catch something like that if you have a stock reporting earnings before market open. And you would have to have a strategy ready so that you watch the earnings, and if it reacts in that first 15 to 20 minutes, you're ready to jump in, and then you set a stop and manage it from there. That's it. That's the only way you're going to catch that. Otherwise, by the time you look at it in the afternoon, it's already made its move. You could also use conditional or buy stop orders above like prior day levels, but that can get you into trouble if you don't watch it the next day. Not much to do here now, but wait, right? It's already moved 7% in the last 2 days. PLTR, I love it. It's close. I need one more day. If you're an anticipatory trader where you're willing to take a stab at it because it gives you better reward to risk, this thing is knocking on the door. It's pinched. It's actually down a little today. You get in, put a tight stop, 55 cents away, and what would we be looking for? When this thing moves, this thing can catch $3 moves. So if I have a 50-cent stop and I have a move up here to 19 or 20, 3.5 points on 5, that's 7-1. We can really find some desirable reward to risk ratio trades. It's flat. It's flat. It's trying to make a late session recovery. Dun 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 dun. Here come the buyers to save the day. It's back above its range. So the tug of war continues. And it looks like the buyers maybe want to try to close this market down. RCL, no matter what, there's nothing here. It never really materialized to a great trade, but it was all right. I mean, it moved. It did find a little bit of ground. Now it's hitting some resistance, pulling back. Earnings are 727 before market, so you could watch that one. SMCI, I would say that's a valid signal. 2 days ago, even. Yesterday was a good move. Today it's pausing. So if you're in it, you're hopefully just kind of hanging on. If you're not in it, you might, I don't know. I don't think I would probably do it just because of the slowdown in the candle, but it is early. I mean, would you have gotten in back here? Yeah, I think you probably would have. If you could have. Would have if could have. Here's the SPY. Okay, SPY. Let's see how you look. And it has now moved up into a territory above 455. A few A's now. Still got another 15 minutes. A lot can happen in those 15 minutes. We know that. I'm on the 15. Let me see the 5. Yeah. All right. Little overbought. Are we going to see it pull back and stay above this level? That was my resistance level I was looking for, but it's nice to see it back at least in the area, the positive area of where it was post-Fed. Okay. All right. Tesla just kind of chopping around. I don't love it. I think it's a little overextended, personally. Okay. Whew, this one, another one of those bear or bull flags. Nothing, no catalyst. So same thing. The only way you're going to catch that is if you're thinking to yourself, I want to have a morning cadence. Because look how fast this thing moved. You got 5, 10, 15, 20. Basically, you would have wanted to have caught it on the breakout out of the morning consolidation. 56.75. 56.75. Okay. Let's get this back out. Here is Visa. Visa has made a surprising recovery after gapping down. They gapped down to 231 and they sold all the way off to this bottom line here and then recovered all the way. In fact, they recovered all the way back to yesterday's range. Couldn't hold on, but it is pretty close. VIX. So again, look at that. I mean, at this point, the lowest point, 1312. The lowest body point, 1330. Where are we now? 1330. Right? 1330. Time for calendars. Yeah. Yes, actually. Let's take a look. Time for calendars. Bullish trade on gold is I think viable. There's a couple of other setups where you're maybe a signal late. I think the bullish window is open right now. That's how I see it. But let's get in here to the SPY. What did I have something here? Okay. What would I do for my calendar spread? I'm going to go 2 weeks, 4 weeks. 2 weeks, 4 weeks. By the time this is on, I'm really thinking I might want to go 11 by 25. 11. We'll put spread. And I might even just go right at the money, 457. And let's go out to the $25th. $11th by $25th. Okay, let's take a look at this thing now. And there it is. So this trade basically sits. Now, what happens? If it moved up this way, I would be able to add another calendar. In fact, at an even better price because the volatility has probably fallen even further still. If it moves down this way, the volatility is going to help sustain it. And I could either hold on to it, or I could even look to add like a a butterfly. I could look at another calendar. It can extend to the downside. Or I could look at a butterfly or even a broken wing butterfly type trade. So this just gives me a starting structure, but you'll notice I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points to either side. That's about 1.5%. And essentially I would put this on and wait. So I'm not thinking now it might drop down here to 452, stay for a couple of days, come back up. And if next Friday, let's say the 4th, if that happens, it drops, it comes back. This trade has $350 of profit, which on this trade, dollars, that's $1,100. So 350 is about a 30% return. A week later, 30% return. Right? Now, if I have to adjust something, then it might alter because I might have a second trade. That is the concept, right? And the other thought is this, is that if it drops down here to 448, we might not do anything with it. If that starts happening, remember, we'll probably end up with some puts on. But I'm looking to add bullish trades, and then if this thing comes back up through, then I'm going to capitalize on it there. So that is the calendar spread. A calendar can be added to with another calendar. A calendar can be added to with a butterfly. It can be added to with a broken wing butterfly. It can even be added to with a bull put spread. So market's selling off again. Unstable. It sure is. Moving back into B territory unless we get a late session bull flag. Late session bull flag. It pauses. It shoots up in the last candle. Happens all the time. Happens to me all the time. Okay. What time is it? 1:53. Let me know if you have any questions. But let me go take a peek at this. Let me go take a look. Oh, see? See? We got some time. Let's take a look at that trade for just a second. As a possibility, so you can kind of see. Now, does this have a Heikin-Ashi candle yet? I'm going to say no. Oh, it does. So you could definitely look at this one. And I think you could go with a pretty tight stop around like one. The low is 182.07, 181.50. I mean, you're only even at 181.30. You're talking $2 of risk for what? I'm looking for probably 7 from here. So I'd say like a 180. Well, the highs, yes. I would say probably 188, 189. 189 is about 6 points. So how would that look? How would that look? I'm going to put this on with a few contracts, actually. Just going to go with 4 contracts, 5 contracts, maybe. Confirm and send. SLV signaled yesterday. Yep, I would imagine. Bagel Fest Day. Nice. All the battery cars looking good. I agree. Is that going to... Let's go to 119. See if that'll fill. 5 more minutes. Let's go back to gold. All right. So we'll track that one and see. Manage through it a little bit. Here is gold. We said 181.30 on one side. We said 189 on the other. That's a 3-to-1. We're going back to singles. What does the vol look like on here? The vol is cheap. Cheap. GDX or GDXJ, Bob said, is cheaper. There's GDX. Yeah, very similar. Options are a little more expensive, though. GDXJ, same kind of thing. A little bit of a spike already. I think I like the options best on gold. I know they're fairly liquid. So let's just go take a peek. You can see we're in the gold options. Let's go to the Augusts. Maybe a bit out of the money. You can see the 185s, 11,000 contracts, 2-cent spread. Everything looks pretty good there. A couple of contracts, I would say. 8-4 next Friday. Honestly, I should know even earlier than that. I should know by this. No, not this Friday. Let's split the difference. So you maybe could go with 3 contracts on something like that. All right, I'm going to see if I can sneak this in. I'm going to go 2, not 3. I'm going to just sneak this little gold trade in place. All right. We'll just see what happens. Down to our last couple of minutes. Let's get back to the quiz. Everybody's waiting with breathless anticipation. Oh, is that like a little bit of a bull flag pattern we see developing? I'm gonna have to let this one go to the wire because if I call it now, everyone's gonna be like, "You're only calling it because you're an A." And I'm like, "Of course that's why, of course." But we'll wait. We've got a minute 13 left. Any trading triumphs anybody would like to share? Any mistakes they would like to express that they've learned from? We've got a quick minute for some banter, some interaction. Oh, somebody asked about my market posture. If you want to see exactly how I got there, it's right there. So really fairly bullish across the board. There is no weakness in the market right now, and there's nothing that's trending down. Everything's really trending more up or staying where it is. So, yeah, for me overall, the market looks great. We've held up in the face of the Fed. Some reports Thursday, Friday. As long as we get a little bit of good news, I think we could see just a little bit more follow through. I am getting more leery of a correction coming, especially knowing what we tend to see in August and September. But hey, if we get that correction, oh, look at that rally. Look at that rally. The bull flag came to fruition. Congratulations to all the A's, including myself. We're very smart people. You're all very smart people. Just today, we were smarter at this. I'll see you guys Friday morning. I think it might have been, Bob. I think it might have been. I'll see you guys Friday morning. We'll see if we get a little follow through. We see what this economic news, if we get some continuation. I like everything I see. I don't have any concerns other than, right, we say it's quiet, and then you say a little too quiet. That's where I'm at. Have a good day, everyone. See you Friday, and happy trading.